Hi, I'm Joe Parkinson, not bitter, just better.
Not bitter, just better. The all-new Everton podcast.
Okay, so it's time to look ahead at our upcoming game this weekend, and it is the visit of Manchester City to Goodison Park.
You forgot to say hello to our...
I'm getting there. Hello to our YouTube listeners.
And also hello to anyone who's watching on Blue Heart, Blue Soul. We're going to start running the videos of our previews from this week.
We're going to be all over the place, aren't we? First of all, before we take a look ahead to that game, we're going to take a look back to two contrasting games. First of all, the City home game from last season, which had us cheering a fair bit.
It did, yeah. We're obviously going to try and do a bit more of a professional job on our preview this week.
Oh yeah, we've got to impress our new kind of following. So
well, there is that, and also because we want to make it sound like we don't just want to get beat.
Yeah.
So there you go. So
we don't.
The home game last season was March. It was towards the back end of the season again, wasn't it? Full house at Goodison.
Yeah, City was still chasing the second successive league title. And from what I remember, this was quite a crucial game in the way the season ended up. Yeah,
I remember as well that we were a bit worried because Jan Mucha was in goal.
Yeah, it is a worrying thing, Jan Mucha being in goal.
So, there you go. And it turned out to be a good day for the Blues. We won 2-0.
Yeah, well, it started off quite brightly because do you remember that Kevin Rallas thumped? It seemed to be a corner. The players were coming out, ball was played back in, and he thumped the ball into the top corner. But unfortunately, it looked like he was wrongly awarded offside as well.
I think he was wrong from memory. I think he was wrongly awarded offside, but a good finish. And then but we didn't have to wait long to take the lead after that.
An even better finish from captain of the day, Leon Osman.
Absolute worldie, wasn't it? If you remember the goal.
Yeah, I think most people will remember this goal. It's the ball came across about 30 yards out, and he swung.
Coleman knocked it into him, I think, from the right hand side.
Yeah, nice work from Coleman, and he swung his left foot at it, outside of the foot. And Joe Hart, possibly best goalkeeper in the league, yeah. arguably for the past couple
best
English goalkeeper, didn't even move, and it just swung into the top corner, and Ozzy celebrated, as did we.
Yeah, we got Pinar sent off after about an hour, which so it was a bit backs to the wall.
It was a little bit. They had an awful lot of pressure. I think Tevez was still terrorising. I think David Silva possibly.
It seems like Tevez has been gone from them for a lot longer than 12 months.
It really does, yeah. Unless we're just thinking about the season before. No, we're not.
No.
And as you say, Pinar got sent off. We had a couple of chances, one from a corner. And then what we remember quite famously, Jelavic with a break. I think Jelavic and Fellaini were on the break, and Jelavic cut inside and unleashed a top bound for who knows where before it took a deflection.
And looped over Joe Hart and dropped it, and Jelavic and Coleman went and had a bit of man love in the corner with Jelavic's top off.
I think where we sit in the Gladys Street, that shot might have been heading towards us before it hit collar off and looped over Joe Hart.
I was getting ready to head that back.
Yeah, I was getting to hide behind you. So that was a brighter result, 2-0. And we have,
if you think about it over the last few years, we've always had a good record against City. I don't remember. There was remember that game, the famous game where Fellaini did that
just what I was thinking of. There was
against Bellamy.
The Marseille 10 where he just pirouetted around Onion Head, as you affectionately know.
Onion Head, Craig Bellamy. Yeah, that was a night game now under the light, wasn't it? With great atmosphere.
We completely played them off the park, and that move typified it. So that was a good one to look back at.
Where we've had a good record at Goodison, we can't really say the same for the Etihad, can we? Both you and I were there earlier this season, went away to City and seen us get beat 3-1. Was that our first? That was our first defeat this season, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was, yeah.
And we went in there quite hopeful, and we actually took the lead with a little. I think it was a bit of a punt up field, and it was just in the. Oh no, it wasn't. It was a great ball up from Jagielka. Lukaku controlled it well, and managed to beat Joe Hart, put us 1-0 up, and we were thinking, we might be able to pinch something here.
We might have a chance here. I remember that day, I've talked about this on a podcast before, but Negredo that day was brilliant, wasn't he? Terrorised us, and I think for a long time I said it was the best opposition performance I'd seen against us, an individual performance all season.
I think
thinking back to it now, it probably still is.
David Silva got man of the match, I think, because he was just pulling the strings, but didn't really have that much of an impact as Negredo. He didn't get on the score sheet basically. But Negredo and Aguero, it was like when they were in their fine form at the start of the season.
He's tailed off quite a bit lately, Negredo, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, Aguero went off injured for a little while since then, and I don't think Negredo's kind of recaptured that form. I think I don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx us, but he hasn't scored in as consistently. Let's just say.
You sure you don't want to jinx us?
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to say in like 18 games or whatever, like Cameron Jerome, a commentator's curse.
Yeah, if Cameron Jerome can score past us, then I'm sure Sergio Aguero can. Not that I'm advocating that.
Yeah, no. So obviously, listeners to the whole podcast will know that we've had quite a debate on, who whether we want to win, but that was a conversation for another time. Will we win is what we're going to talk about now.
Looking at league form, obviously City currently lie in third in the Premier League on 77 points, so 8 points ahead of the Blues, but they have got a game in hand. They've only played 35 and they're 3 points off being top of the league at the moment, with a much superior goal difference to current leaders, the Gobshites. So, massive game for City. Not so massive game for Everton after the recent defeat to...
Unfortunately, the Southampton game has kind of made it that so, isn't it? Yeah. It's still, potentially, the way this season has gone, you couldn't rule it out, could you? You can virtually rule it out, but you can't rule it out.
Look at Everton's last 4 games. Arsenal, at home, destroyed them. We then dipped to Palace. Man United at home, we destroyed them. Even
more than the Arsenal game, despite only being a 2-0, not a 3-0.
We then dipped to Southampton. So, on current form, we're going to destroy Man City and then get beat away at Hull on the last game of the season.
Do you know what that would be? That would be Everton. That
would be Everton through and through. So, it's such a crazy game. There's so many factors going into it, aside from all the Liverpool stuff. Just the way our form has been so up and down recently. The fact that Gareth Barry's ineligible to play in this game is going to be a big loss in central midfield. I think we were talking a few weeks back, maybe we'd see Stones step up, but we haven't had the luxury of being able to try that since, after he had a little sort of semi-cameo there. And the way we are at centre-half at the moment with injuries, we can't really afford to move Stones around. So, it's going to be interesting to see who comes in and plays it.
Well, yeah, let's talk about
Ryan Ledson, do you think?
No. Let's go from back to front. We know Howard's going to play. We know that...
No, we don't. We know that. There's so much talk at the moment, last 2 days, about Joel's getting the game.
No chance.
That's... it's going to be interesting to see who comes in and plays it.
Well, yeah, let's just stop Liverpool win. That's their wishful thinking.
I don't know,
no.
Tim Howard is guaranteed to be going to the World Cup. Maybe you don't want him getting injured now.
No.
Do you rest him until for the World Cup?
Not.
It's going to be interesting to see who comes in and plays it.
Well, yeah,
I would.
No. So I think Tim Howard's going to play. Coleman's going to play.
No, I think Hibbert will play.
No. Coleman's going to play. The centre-back pairing, now, here's where there's been some debate, because Jagielka has been past fit. If he's 100% fit, I think he's going to play. If he's 90% fit...
risk him. You can't risk him at this stage of the season.
Right, OK. What's a risk if he's 100% fit? A risk is, if he's 100% fit, a risk is getting out of bed. You can't, you can't go like that. You can't think like that. It's professional football.
My back five, on a stage of the season...
Right, OK. What's a risk if he's 100% fit? A risk...
Hibbert, Alcaraz, Brown and Garbett.
Not a chance.
I think it might happen, mate.
I think you're just playing devil's advocate here, and you just...
No, I'm not that. If I was picking a team, that's what team I'd pick.
Right, okay.
But obviously, Roberto's picking the team, so let's see what he goes
Okay,
with.
so in central midfield, Baines, we didn't discuss Baines. Baines is meant to be past fit as well, so he's meant to come back in at left back.
The other option is that Garber plays at left back and Baines plays holding central midfield, and so goes into the Barry role.
So that was discussed earlier on the season, possibly him having the ability to play in that role. Again, I can't see that. I think he's just going to play left back.
I think that is a possibility as well.
I think it's more likely that Osman or Barkley are going to play in that Barry role. Which one? They tried Barkley in that role, and I don't think it came off. He just doesn't. I think he can kind of get caught in possession that deep in the field, whereas he can make more of an impact behind the striker. I wouldn't risk him there. I think Osman would be the safer bet. You'd lose something out of Barry's game, but Osman does do a lot of interceptions and picks off a lot of loose balls. So,
well, there's obviously a little bit of something in the air, isn't there? Because around the striking position in particular, it's something we forgot to mention in the news before, but obviously Velios has been recalled this week, and
I think that is less of the impact he's made at Blackpool and more of our need to have an attacking option on the bench. But if you look at our bench last week with Ledson, Browning and Garbett on there, and Hibbett, so you had a full back four on the bench, and that's unheard of in the Premier League.
Midfield wise, if I was picking a team, I'd go for Billy Letternoff on the left, Edan Tal, Alex Nyarko, and Van der Meijden on the right. That's the four.
So you're throwing this game then?
No, I'm putting out a fairly strong side here. Brett Angel and Stuart Barlow up front.
Seriously though,
no. In all honesty, all joking aside, Roberto is he's got a lot of integrity. I'm sure he doesn't want Everton to lose, and he's going to go out and field the strongest team as he sees he can. I don't think we'll see Jagielka. I really don't, and that's my honest opinion. I think there's more chance of probably seeing Distan than Jagielka. So it'll be interesting, won't it? But if there was ever a game where you wanted Barry and McCarthy to be together, this would be it, because obviously you've got the power coming through the midfield of Toure. We've got the cleverness of the likes of Navas and Silva, who can cause any midfield problem, and Nasri likes to arrive late as well. So you need your holding midfielders to obviously combat their very creative midfield, I think. Yeah.
The other kind of debate was with Morales going off injured in the in the Man U game. Delafeu came in for him in the Southampton game and didn't really do much to impress. So does McGeady get the nod this time?
Game plan wise, you'd think City are obviously going to come and have to have a major go at us. So you would think our ideal game plan would be to hit them on the counter attack.
Which Morales would be a big miss there, wouldn't he? Because he's great at that play.
So that plays into the hands of Delafeu, doesn't it? At the moment, where the one who's got pace really to hit them on the counter. So. I think you'll probably see Delafeu start. I think you'll probably see Barkley start, and then Lukaku up top, maybe Naismith on the other side, just to sort of be able to utilise the counter attack.
I think Naismith will keep his place just through lack of numbers now, isn't it? I think
so do I. Yeah.
I think that sense. I think it's got to be Osman or Barkley in that Barry position. I can't see a way around it other than Baines. I can't see him doing that for a game. Not a game of this size, but opponents this good.
I must admit, the one thing I'm looking forward to the most all weekend is seeing our team sheet.
Yeah,
it's going to be very interesting.
Imagine Joel is in goal. The murmurs will be that we have thrown this game big time.
Imagine if Hibbett at centre half. So, looking at the City side of things, though, I think do we
have to?
We're going to have to, yeah. They look pretty much full strength at the moment, really. Aguero's just come back. There's a few I don't think he's 100% fit, which is always a little bit of a bonus, but he's awesome even at 80% fit, isn't he? Let's face it, he's better than...
I think if he hadn't got injured, he would have pushed a little bit harder for that Player of the Year award, and I think just through the fact that he's just more of a professional and less of a cheating bastard, I think he might have taken it.
Yeah. I mean, and even if Aguero's not 100 fit, Negredo and Dzeko are nowhere.
Dzeko, and you've got Jovetic, who was a top striker before he came to City and hasn't really had a sniff. So they're not short, are they?
No. So it's going to be a very difficult game for the Blues. I don't think we're going to get anything out of the game. My man to watch as far as City goes is I'm going to go for Navas. There's probably some more obvious choices, i.e. Torre, Aguero, as we've said, but the thing with Navas is he's got blistering pace, and if for instance Baines doesn't make it after that knock the other day, we could have somebody a bit less experienced at left back, and he could get caused real problems by Navas.
I think for the same kind of problem, just because of the team selection, I think it's going to be Torre. Torre's going to dominate the game with Barry not being in there.
He'll be in McCarthy's arse pocket all game.
He's going to have to have a big arse pocket to control all of that midfield.
True, yeah. So, that's it. I think it'll be a City win, but I think it'll be a very soft City win to take on the chin for us Blues.
Yeah, we had a long discussion about it before on the in our social media section, which we do on the podcast for the YouTube and Blue Heart Blue Soul listeners, and this out of all Everton defeats, I think would be nobody wants Everton to get beat, really. I think it's just that they don't want Liverpool to win the league. So I think this would soften the blow, that knowledge that it might deny them a little bit. Out of any other result, and as we said before, it might be if we get beat and it's a 9-8 and we lose with the last kick of the game or whatever, it might just be one of those, it's just one of those, mate, isn't it?
It is. So there you go. That's our preview. It's going to be a very interesting weekend, isn't it?
And it's a late kick-off as well, isn't it? So it should be quite buzzing.
So yeah, it should be a party day. Obviously, we're expecting Roberto to lead his first lap of honour around the Goodison pitch, as is customary after the last time.
Regardless of that result, it's been a fantastic season for us. We broke our points tally haul since the Premier League began. The amount of buzz that has generated around the club, the School of Science returning. I think no matter what, even if we get absolutely trounced at the weekend, we should remember that this is the start of something special.
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
It really does
feel like a new dawn, a new era. And even though we're a bit disappointed about maybe not finishing in the top four now, just the fact that we were up there right until the very tail end of the City shows that we have moved on from the last couple of seasons. So, it's going to be a very interesting week. Do you know what? I am a bit gutted about that. There's only 1 week of the season left after this.
I know, we've got the World Cup to look forward to, but it's going to be silly o'clock kick-off times, isn't it? Which is disappointing. But we'll have plenty of Blues to be cheering on. Okay, yeah.
I want to start turning the podcast through the World Cup into the Costa Rica podcast.
Yeah, just for Brian.
Just for Brian, yeah.
Yeah, sound. So, that's it from us again for another week. I want to say thanks to everyone who listens on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and also on now on Blue Heart Blue Soul.
Anywhere really.
Anywhere, and then just keep spreading the word for us. Appreciate it.
With Mars bars if we could.
Yeah. Keep spreading the word for us. Tell your mates. I know we do get quite a bit of nice feedback, so it's always nice. But the biggest thing you can do for us, rather than massaging our egos, is tell your mates about it and try and get them involved as well, because more listeners means that we get more time to talk about it and that. So
I've got a feeling that next week's podcast. A Terry feeling that next week's podcast is going to be quite amusing either way. Somehow I'm already going to throw that out there.
It could be heartbreaking. No, don't. Anyway, catch you next week, Blues. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.